out or just come on in and hang out with Ricky for a while. And I was like, well, why not? Why wouldn't I want that?
Hey, well, look here, man. I appreciate you doing that, man. And just got to give a big shout out to everybody at 93.7, the ticket, the whole family, man. I think it's a great place to be. And
Big time.
I'm really honored to be a small part of that.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Ricky, what do we got? What do we got on tap here tonight, man?
Hey, man, I'm down here in Tulsa and come down here like, oh gosh, this is, I think, year 5 for me. And I'm not going to really try to explain it. I'm going to let someone that has the knowledge and who brought me on, I'm going to let him explain it. He's a very good friend. He's like a brother to me. He's Randy Allison. And Randy, I want you to tell people who you are and what we're doing down in Tulsa.
Well, thank you, Ricky and Nick. It's good to be on with you guys. I'm a banker in Tulsa, have been for 43 years, and about 20 years ago, I started doing a charity golf tournament where we would bring celebrities in, pair them up with sponsors, and would raise money for local charities. In this last 20 years, we've raised and given away a little more than $1.6 million now. Most of it on programs to help kids. That's kind of where my heart is to try and help kids, and they're the future, and we want to try and give them every opportunity we can. So started doing this, and when you do that, you work with the guys you know. Well, Steve Owens, I've known him for a long time. Steve brought Billy Sims and Jason White in, started bringing a lot of the OU guys in. Subsequently, that brought Johnny Rogers and Mike Rozier and Jeff Crouch in. And then we just started adding from there. So most of the guys that come down and play in this thing, we do a tournament generally in May and another one in October. And most of the folks come in are either OU, OSU, or Nebraska guys. We'll occasionally get some Notre Dame guys, some USC guys, et cetera. But and then we've had some other exceptional guys make the deal. But it's been a fun deal, and it's really the Nebraska guys have just become family to all of us down here. So it's been such an honor to get to meet those guys, and they're so genuine, they're so good, and they really want to come down here and help these kids. I've said it before, these guys could play in a charity golf tournament within 50 miles of their home every day of the week. They leave their homes, they come to Tulsa and help us raise money for our kids. They're exceptional people.
Well, Randy, first of all, I want to say thank you, though, for what you do. My show is basically based on being happy. That's why it's named the Get Your Happy On Hour. But I just think what you do is a part of what I stand for, which is making people happy. I mean, you go out of your way to put these events on. I mean, and these are not easy things to do because you got to navigate a lot of people's schedules. And you do a wonderful job at it. And you know what was really, I think the most important thing to me is you enjoy doing it, and that means a lot to me. That's why I participate.
Well, and I appreciate that, Ricky. It's probably the greatest honor of my life to have been able to put this together and to do these things to help the community and help our kids. And then, you get to meet people, like yourself, Rick. I mean, your family, that. My whole family loves you. It's just you're part of this deal. And, I'm so proud of the things that you have done with your life and the things you're doing, the great things you're doing and how you're helping people. So, I'm thrilled to be able to just be able to witness what you do.
Well, you can't get rid of me though, right?
I know that.
So, yeah, okay. I just want to make sure we get that on the air so that way I got record and I got witnesses.
You come every year, baby.
Yeah, I'm definitely coming. I think we actually come twice a year, and I look forward to each time. And when I get those emails or those phone calls from you, man, it just puts a smile on my face because I know the meaning behind why you're calling. You're calling for a good cause.
Well, and it's been great. It's been fun. One of the things that we've been doing up until COVID hit was when these guys would all come down, we'd go to the Children's Hospital at St. Francis, get all of these celebrities gathered around a table, and I'm talking 40 or 50 of these guys, and we've had as many as 12 Heisman Trophy winners here at one time, any given time. We've had 18 total over the years that have come in, all Americans. I mean, just great players and names that everybody would know. We'd set all these guys around a table. They'd sign footballs and then would go up and pass those out to the kids at the children's hospital on Sunday afternoon. Mm-hmm. COVID is changed the rules. We can't get in there right now. We're hoping that that's going to change, and maybe this next spring we'll be able to get back over to the children's hospital. That's always a highlight.
Well, I'll tell you one thing too. When we go in, I remember the very first time we actually, I had that opportunity to go into the hospital and sign those balls and break up into groups to go to each floor and give those kids footballs. I didn't really understand what it was the first time, but I knew it was something special when I saw former football players from OU, OSU, Tulsa, Nebraska doing something together. And then I think the thing that touched me the most was when people was coming out of that room, I was watching grown men with tears in their eyes. And it really touched my heart because that's a tough situation, and a lot of times, we as just individuals and as humans, we tend to take stuff for granted, and when you see these kids, some of these kids, and Randy, you correct me if I'm wrong, but some of these kids, man, they're maybe 7 or 8 years old and they know they're not going to see their next birthday, and
Yeah.
that's a tough deal, man. I mean, here we are grown, done lived out the majority of our lives. And, we're taking stuff for granted and complaining about what we don't have. Here's a kid 8 years old that knows he's not going to live to be 9.
Well, it makes you realize how blessed you really are.
Right. Exactly. And that, to me, is why I say you can't get rid of me. So just know that I want to be a part of this for as long as I can possibly be.
For as long as I'm a part of it, you will be.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Randy, I just want to thank you, man, for taking your valuable time. I know there's a lot of guys here that you're responsible for, but I just wanted to bring you on just so you can, explain to people why we're here and what we're doing.
Well, it's an honor to have you guys here and a privilege, but it's also a pleasure for me because it's like a family reunion for me. So, Ricky, thank you for being here. To all the guys for leaving their families and coming down here and spending a few days with us and helping us take care of some kids.
Hey, man, it's my pleasure. And like I said, on a lighter note, before I let you go, hey, man, you can't just keep beating up on me on the golf course. Okay.
I was going to say, how do we hit the ball? How do we play?
Hey, man, Randy can play, Nick. Randy's really good. But see, I think he be partially inviting me down here so that I can donate all these golf balls to the golf course so they don't have to buy golf balls. They just walk around the course and pick up the ones I lost.
I like to play behind Ricky because I can fill my bag up.
How long do you spend on average, Ricky, looking for your shots here? I mean, do we just pass them on up?
No, I just put number 7 on them. I play with red Callaways. I just put number 7 on them so when they go way left and way right, they become a souvenir for somebody.
Randy, is there a way that people can help out if they're listening at home and they have the urge to kind of help out? I mean, how can they get in touch with you even if they aren't at a golf tournament?
It would just be fabulous. My phone number is 918-284-0043. That's my cell number. We work with Oklahoma Celebrity Charities. That's a nonprofit that we put together to be able to do this so we can get the tax advantages for people's contributions. And they could contact me. I can put them together with the nonprofit, and it would just be fabulous.
Well, Randy, I just want to say again, thank you, man, for what you do. And I'm looking forward to, I'm hoping that we don't get rained out tomorrow so I can donate some more balls to the course. That would be.
Well, we would appreciate that, Randy.
Thanks again, Randy, man. You take care, and I'll see you a little later, all right?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, you take care. Nick?
What's up, Ricky?
What's going on up there, man? What's happening?
So here, actually, while we're on the topic of golfing, I had myself a heck of a day, surprisingly, on the course yesterday. I played in a little bit of a 2-man scramble.
Yeah.
And in my handicap, I'm not very good. I am not very good. My handicap is on 18 is probably around a 9. Okay. And
well, you got me beat. So
my buddy and I, we shot 4 under yesterday I don't know if you've
What?
ever if you've golfed up in at Highlands Golf Course here in Lincoln.
Yes, I have. Yes, I
Yeah,
have.
so we played. It was a perfect day yesterday, and we shot 4 under as a 2-man scramble
Wow.
yesterday. Still lost because my other 2 buddies that we were playing against shot 5 under. Played the
Ah.
best golf of our lives, and we still lost. It was a tough day, but we walked away from that going, man, we can't be too disappointed by this. This is a great day for golf, and we played better than we ever have.
Well, you know what, man, and that's to me. I mean, I play golf just like what I'm doing down here. I do this for causes, Nick. I don't really I don't play. I don't expect to get invited down to where they're handing out green jackets.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not under no illusion, but I love to play, and I play for causes. I don't play for bragging rights. I don't do any
100%.
betting. Yeah, I just play for good causes. That's what I do.
I think it really puts things into perspective, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Because and how many times I can't even count how many times in the last. I mean, you can even go 3-4 years, especially throughout the pandemic, and obviously we're kind of in the rear view mirror, looking at the rear view mirror in that regard. But man, it's still going on, as we all know, and there's a lot of stuff just on the daily, not even pandemic related, that a lot of people are going to. Especially with the kids, that's awesome that you guys are able to help out with that.
Well, the way I look at it too is, and this is kind of on a little lighter note, golf is a very humbling game as well. And because the reason why I say that is because, like, I'll have let's say the first hole, I'll play like really good, and then I start to kind of thinking I kind of got this thing figured out. The second hole, it lets me know that I don't know nothing.
I got lucky on the first hole.
Yeah, exactly. The first hole was just straight luck. I mean, second hole I can't find my ball, so that that just kind of puts it all in perspective. But like I say, overall, it's just for a great cause.
Yeah, and now obviously, Ricky, like I'm pretty young. I'm 21 years old. But one thing that I've learned through my playing days and everything like that, and being able to play in a couple of charity golf scrambles and things like that, and hearing stories and that such, it's really taught me not to sweat the small things.
Right. Correct.
And like if you want to put a light note on it, not to sweat a bad shot. And my response this last year, I've caught myself a lot kind of taking a step back if something negative happens and going, you know what? If that's the worst thing that happens today, we're going to be just fine.
Absolutely. And I'll be honest with you. I think that's the right approach to take, because sometimes when you take things too serious, I've been out there on golf courses with guys sometimes that, I call it, they're overreacting. I mean, you're throwing clubs and you're pounding the ground with the club after the ball didn't go where you thought it should go. I think that elevates your stress level, and it's unnecessary. I mean, because like you say, at the end of the day, it's not that big of a deal. There's people dealing with a lot more serious issues. I mean, I think it's just a privilege that you even get the opportunity to play golf.
100%.
Whether you're good or not.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% wholeheartedly. Ricky, got anything specific that we want to kind of dive into tonight?
Well, I think it's kind of a nice little segue into just not taking things for granted.
Yeah.
I mean, and every time I come down to Tulsa, man, that's the one thing that stands out, because I know why we're here, and I guess I see the same things that most people see in society. And it's kind of repetitive, but so is negativity. Negativity is repetitive as well, so I always try to stay focused on being positive. And most of the time I feel like when you're stressing out, usually you figure out that what you're stressing out about isn't even worth it. And it works itself out.
I was just going to say that you find out that fast forward 24 hours from when you're worried, from when you're freaking out. And hey, guess what? It all worked itself out. And like I said, my favorite quote that I have heard from multiple people, I'm not going to try to try to say that I created it. If that's the worst thing that
Right,
happens
right.
today, if that's the worst thing that happens today, we're going to be just fine
Well,
because we're living life.
exactly. And see, here's the thing. What a lot of people, I think, miss out on or take for granted is nobody's perfect, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and as long as you're on earth, you know, you're gonna make some mistakes. And I just don't think beating yourself up over mistakes or dwelling on them, I just don't think that's gonna change them. I think what you do is when you recognize that it is a mistake, you dust yourself off. And then after that, man, you get up and you try again and be thankful that you got the opportunity to try again.
Well, and I know you got a big group of brothers and friends and buddies and stuff. I think having a really good support system, which you kind of take that for granted as well, right?
Yeah.
You step back and you're like, you know what? I still got a family. I still got buddies. I still got this band of brothers. I should say,
right.
And no matter what happens today, we're going to be okay.
Exactly. You know, and I try to pass that on to like say the current Nebraska football team. I look at all of them as like little brothers.
Yeah.
So, so those are the type of things that I try to pass on to people.
That's interesting. I want to kind of talk about that after the break here because that's interesting because you guys as former players have a really unique perspective and a great opportunity that I know a lot of you, especially yourself, Ricky, you take that to heart. So I kind of want to dive into that a little deeper if we could.
Okay, well, we're going to go to break. Hey, I want to first of all say, hey, thank you guys for listening. Please don't leave. To Get Your Happy On Hour on 93.7 The Ticket. We'll be right back.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now they've raised wages again and they're hiring for production operators at $22.58 per hour. And other select jobs is starting at $24.28 per hour, with wages growing up to $30.30 per hour. Continental also has salaried jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates. To learn more or to apply, go to continental-jobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive certified Piedmontese beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercado serves up the best lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Stop in at the Mercado today at 84th and Havelock or visit their website at cpmercado.com to see current deals.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 a.m, my phone rang. They said, "I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action." Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Do you remember your favorite teacher? I sure do. I'm Jenny Benson, president of the Nebraska State Education Association. Teachers push students to do their best and help kids when they struggle. They make their classrooms welcoming and safe for all students. They create engaging lessons that help students access complex concepts and make connections. Support our public school teachers and students. Help make this the best school year yet.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association in this station.
This message is for Karina, our mom who finished her high school diploma at age 28. Hi, Mom. It's Emmettith and Nicholas. Congratulations on getting your diploma. You worked so hard and have taught us so much. We love you.
When you graduate, they graduate. Finish your high school diploma for you and for them. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Okay, kids, Dad's gonna teach you how to dance. First, spread your feet apart. Then, pump your knee, nod your head, shake your hips, and bite your lip ever so slightly. Now, with one hand in the air, point at people with the other hand. I call that the rock star.
Dance like a dad. It's a great way to make a moment with your kids.
Now, make a face like it just smells something bad.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it twice a day.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it in the morning and before dinner.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it, and share it with my doctor. Nearly 1 in 2 U.S. adults have high blood pressure. That's why it's important to self-monitor your blood pressure in 4 easy-to-remember steps. It starts with a monitor.
Now that I know my blood pressure numbers, I talked with my doctor. We're getting those numbers down.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it.
Be next to talk to your doctor about your blood pressure numbers. Get down with your blood pressure. Self-monitoring is power. Learn more at manageyourbp.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the American Heart Association, and the American Medical Association, in partnership with the Office of Minority Health and Health Resources and Services Administration.
Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket.
Okay, playing 93.7 The Ticket.
Alexa, turn down the lights.
Dimming the lights.
Alexa, order a pizza, the big one, all the toppings.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
Alexa.
That's a lot of pizza for just one man.
Alexa, just do it. Stop judging me, just do it.
As you wish.
Thanks, Alexa. You're my best friend.
A commitment to volunteer service is one of the many things that makes Nebraska so special. Volunteers give their time, energy, and resources, and they ask for nothing in return. The Step Forward Awards ensures they're recognized for all they do. Serve Nebraska thanks all the nominators, nominees, and sponsors for helping to honor their dedication. The Lifetime Achievement Award is the most prestigious award in the state given for volunteerism. Serve Nebraska is proud to award this year's Lifetime Achievement Award to Henry Potter of Willow Island. He's being honored for founding L2 for Kids. L2 for Kids is entirely volunteer run and works towards boosting children's self-esteem by providing new clothes and shoes for their first day of school. In 2021, they purchased new clothes for 967 Central Nebraska students. Congratulations to all the 2022 Step Forward Award honorees. Sponsored by Serve Nebraska, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
My simple solution to the problem was remove people from the scene and help them feel safer.
In response to attacks against Asian Americans, Maddie Park raised over $250,000 to donate cab rides to the Asian community.
There is so much more work to be done. We really need to come together and tackle this issue as a community.
Support the Asian community. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Are you a veteran looking for a new companion animal? A dog, a cat, or maybe something else? The Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs Vets Get Pets program can cover up to $350 of your pet adoption fees. Visit veterans.nebraska.gov/vetsgetpets to learn more about program requirements and how to apply. Want to help support the program? Get your Vets Get Pets specialty license plates from the Nebraska DMV. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Back to the Get Your Happy On Hour on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
I see y'all jamming. Hey, we're back. We're back. The Get You Happy On Hour is back. 93.7 The Tickets. Your host, Ricky C. Simmons. You know what, Nick, you was telling me, you was asking me something about the Husker program, and I'd like to follow that.
Yeah, I was curious. I mean, you guys are in such a unique and I don't want to take away from it, like a great position, and have an awesome opportunity from a unique perspective to provide advice and to the current players, right? And I want you. I mean, I don't want to necessarily say how much does that mean to you, but I mean, how cool is it to like sit back and think I repped the N, and we did it in a time that was Nebraska was playing well, and it's got to be awesome. I mean, it's a cool feeling as somebody that gets to hang out with, Vershawn on a daily basis, and Jay, and now we get to do a show, Ricky, you and I, and it's just kind of cool on my end. But talk about that a little bit from your guys' perspective.
Well, see, to me, it's a very unique situation. You're absolutely right, first of all, because it's not I guess you would say like a fraternity, but it is like a fraternity, like it's real simple. If you played before I played, you're my little brother. Yeah. I mean, you're my big brother. If you're playing after I played, you're my little brother. So, it's like, it's not something in writing, but just like the current players, they're all my little brothers. So when I speak to them, they know that I'm on their side. And more than likely, we're telling them what they need to hear versus what they want to hear.
Bingo.
Social media is a big part of today's game, where it wasn't even a part of my game. So, they get a lot of outside noise, and sometimes, you can't avoid hearing the noise. But these guys, they're young men, and they're in a position, and unfortunately, like myself, you don't realize how important it is when you're actually doing it. You don't understand, and a lot of people, including myself, was guilty of this. We don't have the ability to look down the road.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like decades later, this is still going to be important in your life. I haven't played football for Nebraska since the early 80s. But I mean, even in 2022, Nebraska football is a big part of my life and a big part of what I do. And that's the part that we try to remind the current players of. Hey, man, you're playing for something much bigger than just right now.
I think that's awesome. And it's even more refreshing. And I don't want to make it all about football necessarily with this conversation and this show, but I think it is also very refreshing to hear a guy like Trev, and especially Mickey Joseph, now be in sync and on the same page. I mean, if you think back to what Trev Alberts said when they decided to make a change in coaching, he said something along the lines, and I was sitting 3 rows away from him, so I was hearing it firsthand, where he was like, there will never be a moment in time that this program isn't bigger than somebody. There will never be a single person that is bigger than this program. And in that, he's talking about the head coach, obviously, but he's talking about himself. And that's where I think there's such a calming feel with a guy like Trev Alberts leading the ship, because he gets it.
Yeah. Well, see, Nick, to be really honest with you, man, everybody wants the same thing in the end. Okay. It's not like, there's, we're against you. As former players, I feel comfortable saying this about any former player. We want to see the current players do well. Just like the fans want it, and the people that are in the program want it. We want it as well. Unfortunately, we have to be very careful how we present that to the current players, because they've got a lot of people trying to pick on them in a sense, and dissecting everything they do. They can have 5 good plays and 1 bad play, and we only talk about the 1 bad play. That's a lot like life. We like to focus on the negative. So my thing is, it's a great opportunity. And I think as former players, we should do whatever we can to inspire the current players and staff, because it is refreshing to have people like Trev and Mickey that's there, because they know and they learned from the same guy that I learned from. You know, so we don't have to. You know, there's certain things Trev and I do not have to talk about, or Mickey and I do not have to talk about, because we all learned from Coach Osborne. So, I mean, that was the blueprint. And we just want to get back to what we know the program can be. That's all.
Well, and I think when we look at the whole landscape of it, and you guys as former players, and I don't think I'm stepping out of bounds by saying this, you're not there to step on toes. You're not there to get in the way. And we talked about in that first, and I think that's something that gets in just the general fan base. I mean, the people that don't get to talk to you guys and know you guys on a personal level. And that's what's super cool about what we have here at the Ticket, is because you get to hear from former players like yourself, and like they get to know their true intentions and them away from being that former athlete. They get to be people. And I think that's super, super cool. And we're super lucky to be a part of it. I think it's important because you guys aren't there. You guys don't want to. You guys being active does not mean running practices. It's that networking.
Absolutely not.
It's being there to give advice. Correct. And as much as Nebraska fans don't like Oklahoma, I was talking to one of the media people from Oklahoma, and they said that when Brent Venables went to Oklahoma, one of the first things he said was that Oklahoma has always been and always will be a former player driven program.
Absolutely.
And he understood it, that that Oklahoma football is way bigger than Brent Venables, way bigger than himself. And he understood that success is going to come by allowing a good network and filling smart people in the room around him. And that same thing can be used here at Nebraska.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. I mean, small things, like, you know, I'm just going to speak from the former player's perspective. Small things like, say, when we were playing for Nebraska, it was me and Rozier and Fryer and all these guys. Man, when we saw Johnny Rodgers at practice,
yeah,
you know, it made you feel like, hey, man, we got to step our game up, man. Johnny's here, you know, and it's the same thing in the games. And that's all, you know, that was basically inspiration. And that's the same thing that we're trying to pass on. I mean, we're not trying to run nothing down there. We don't have any eligibility left, so we understand that, but we still want the program to be successful. You know, we all are businessmen now. We travel around the country, man. And I'll be honest with you, we down here we in Tulsa. Oh, but you see my golf bag is Nebraska.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, we represent Nebraska wherever we go. It doesn't matter, and we like, you know, let's be honest. We like to brag a little bit too, you know. So
you've earned it.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I think that's important. Is you've earned that.
Right, but we want to see them earn it so that they will have that same privilege when their days at Nebraska are done. Some of those guys will go on to the next level and play. Some of them will go into the business world, you know. But they're still going to be former players, and that's for life. I mean, I think they have a little saying about that: once a Husker, always a Husker. Well, you know, when I first heard that, you know, being from Texas, I didn't really understand that, but I understand it now.
I think it's awesome. I mean, I get to hear it on the daily from Aaron Davis when we do the show from 8 to 10 every day. He flies a ton to do his motivational speeches and talks, his keynotes, things like that. And he goes, every single time he comes back, there's always a story of, man, I want Nebraska to get back. Man, it's great for college football when Nebraska is playing well. And it's great for the city. Like, after a win, Ricky, man, you know it. Like, people in the grocery store are nicer. The people driving on the street is nicer. When Nebraska had just won 2 games in a row, I was like, man, I go to Hy-Vee and people are smiling, people are happy, people are nice. I'm like, this is all it took. This is all it took. And it's refreshing to get a new voice and be confident in the leader.
And that's the main thing. I mean, you said the key word, happiness. See, that's
to get your happy on hour, Ricky.
It's to get you happy. That's what it's all about, man. I mean, I'm not naive. I mean, I keep saying this. I'm not naive. I understand negativity and adversity everywhere. I get it. I'm not trying to downplay that, but you just made a good point, man. The program has a huge effect on society, especially within the state of Nebraska. I mean, it probably has a large effect everywhere, because once people leave Nebraska, they go all over the United States, all over the country.
That end burns everywhere.
Right. So my point is, a lot of times, like I wear my Letterman ring in honor of Coach Osborne, and people will be in airports or different states, and they'll be like, "What's that ring, man?" So it was Nebraska, and they're like, "Oh, you played there?" I was like, "Yeah, I played a long time ago." And then they'll say, "Well, when did you play?" And I'll say something like, "Well, we went for 2 on my last game for a national championship." Oh man, they take the conversation over. "I remember that game. Yeah, man, I knew where I was, and man, that was a great game." So what I'm trying to say is, it's bigger, like you said, it's bigger than just one person, man.
Which and if I think having you guys be a part of this thing and be active, right, in the future, when you talk about having that, giving these current players that support system and somebody that's been in their shoes, is huge. Not only in the social media age, it also helps them on a day-to-day basis. But then they also realize that they are playing for something way bigger than themselves.
Absolutely.
And they realize what kind of impact. It's a huge it's a great opportunity for the current players right now, as people that rep the N, as athletes that rep the N, especially on Nebraska's biggest stage inside Memorial Stadium, where it's the 3rd largest city in the state on game day, right?
Right.
It gives them an opportunity to really sway the emotion. And I say opportunity because it's a blessing. It is a huge blessing that we're growing up, that we live, and that Nebraska football can change the atmosphere with a win on Saturdays.
Absolutely. And and it's not just football. It's all Nebraska sports. I mean, the volleyball, the basketball. I mean, when one does well, it inspires the rest of the sports to do well. It inspires the rest of the student body to be better people. I mean, it's just I don't even know how to really explain it, but it's a very, very, it's a big deal, man.
Yeah, Ricky, I have a perfect example before we go to break here. Last night, I'm sitting in a sports bar, Brewski's, over on 70th and Van Dorn here in Lincoln, and the Husker volleyball match was on. They were playing on the road at Illinois, and every set point, they were the whole entire bar was clapping and getting faster and faster, just like they do at the Bob Devaney Sports Center. And then they shouted, "Go Big Red," after they won each set. The exact same thing wherever you go. It's a great atmosphere, and that's just no place like Lincoln.
Hey, look here, man. We're going to get this thing turned around. So just hang in there with us. Hey, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Please do not go nowhere. We'll be right back. This is the Get Your Happy On Hour on 93.7, The Ticket.
These days, there are more reasons than ever to treat yourself to a great haircut at Great Clips with the online check-in app. So tell us, why do you check in?
I check in because I'm tired of hat hair. I check in because we all need a cut.
I check in so I can feel like me.
And I check in so I look good for you.
No matter why you check in, you'll check out with a great haircut and save time with our online check-in app. Great Clips. It's gonna be great.
Okay, kids, Dad's gonna teach you how to dance. First, spread your feet apart. Then pump your knee, nod your head, shake your hips, and bite your lip ever so slightly. Now, with one hand in the air, point at people with the other hand. I call that the rock star.
Dance like a dad. It's a great way to make a moment with your kids.
Now, make a face like it just smells something bad.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I think it's just vapor.
Vaping is safer than smoking, isn't it?
There's really not even that much nicotine in them, right?
One vape pod has as much nicotine as one pack of cigarettes.
My kid
knows it's dangerous. 5.4 million American kids vape, and most think it's harmless. Get your head out of the cloud. Talk to your kid about vaping. Visit talkaboutvaping.org. That's talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket.
Okay, playing 93.7 The Ticket.
Alexa, turn down the lights.
Dimming the lights.
Alexa, order a pizza. The big one. All the toppings.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
Alexa.
That's a lot of pizza for just one man.
Alexa, just do it. Stop judging me, just do it.
As you wish.
Thanks, Alexa. You're my best friend.
Ashiro's work is never done. You care for the house, the kids, and our future. We're so grateful for all you do. Now it's time to care for yourself and save a little more for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to boost your retirement savings now. Visit aceyourretirement.org/Shiro today.
A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Here's to days spent roaming, and to sleeping beneath the stars, to casting another line and letting time float by. From Shadron State Park to Indian Cave State Park and every recreation area, historical and state park in between. Here's to your adventures, your memories. Here's to going out and enjoying your Nebraska State Parks. Plan your next trip today at yournebraskaparks.org. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 a.m, my phone rang. They said, "I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action." Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
A commitment to volunteer service is one of the many things that makes Nebraska so special. Volunteers give their time, energy, and resources, and they ask for nothing in return. The Step Forward Awards ensures they're recognized for all they do. Serve Nebraska thanks all the nominators, nominees, and sponsors for helping to honor their dedication. The Lifetime Achievement Award is the most prestigious award in the state given for volunteerism. Serve Nebraska is proud to award this year's Lifetime Achievement Award to Henry Potter of Willow Island. He's being honored for founding L2 for Kids. L2 for Kids is entirely volunteer run and works towards boosting children's self-esteem by providing new clothes and shoes for their first day of school. In 2021, they purchased new clothes for 967 Central Nebraska students. Congratulations to all the 2022 Step Forward Award honorees. Sponsored by Serve Nebraska, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Do you remember your favorite teacher? I sure do. I'm Jenny Benson, president of the Nebraska State Education Association. Teachers push students to do their best and help kids when they struggle. They make their classrooms welcoming and safe for all students. They create engaging lessons that help students access complex concepts and make connections. Support our public school teachers and students. Help make this the best school year yet.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Are you a veteran looking for a new companion animal, a dog, a cat, or maybe something else? The Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs Vets Get Pets program can cover up to $350 of your pet adoption fees. Visit veterans.nebraska.gov/vetsgetpets to learn more about program requirements and how to apply. Want to help support the program? Get your Vets Get Pets specialty license plates from the Nebraska DMV. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Back to the Get Your Happy On Hour on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
I see you, Nick. I see you. Hey, I see you getting your happy on.
This is a rarity. Obviously, DP's usually in this spot, but this has been fun for an evening.
Well, look here. I want to before we wrap this thing up for tonight. I'd like to say a few things just to offer some advice and some encouragement to the
Let's hear it, Ricky.
First thing is be grateful for what you have versus complaining about what you don't have. I mean, there's not a person on the planet that doesn't have something that they would want to have that they don't. So I think you should be more grateful. I mean, I think that's just a positive thing. And I think the one thing that I really want to caution people about is you got to be really careful. And this sounds kind of harsh, but you got to be careful who you're being happy around, especially when you're being happy around unhappy people. The reason why I say that is because, unfortunately, we live in a society where, let's be real with each other. Some people don't want to be happy or don't know how to be happy. And when they run across people that have or that is in the process of being happy, they're not going to be your bigger supporters. So
they don't want you happy either.
Right. Well, that old misery loves company statement, or whatever that's a true statement. But the catch is you can't fall for that. And I just want to encourage everybody out there that's listening, man, stay focused on the positive. I know everything might not be perfect, but, I always try to tell myself that it could be worse.
Yeah.
It could be worse. I mean, I'm very thankful for what I do have. And I do my best. Now, I'm not perfect, but I do my best not to complain about things that I don't have. And that's a very tough thing. And being happy, let me make this really clear. Being happy is not easy because it's not promoted like negativity is being promoted. So always stay focused on the positive. As hard as it may be, continue to do that. And I think the outcomes will be much more productive, to say the least. I just think that's really important for people to think about that because problems are going to be there. That's just part of the deal. They call it life. Mm-hmm. But I think, and I speak from personal experience because I've been through a lot. So I understand the value of being appreciative. And I would like everybody to just think about that. I'm not saying you have to agree with it. I just want you to think about it.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. And like I said, like we've kind of been talking about throughout the entire show here, the 52 minutes that we've been on the air. Mm-hmm. If that's the worst thing that happens, we're gonna be just fine.
It's gonna be okay, man. It's gonna be okay. And like I said, I always tell people every day you're blessed to see is just another day in paradise. And I think as long as you take that approach, you at least have a chance.
Yeah, we have Brett on the Starter Heyman Jewelers video stream, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. As we have a couple minutes left in the show here, Brett says, "Hope hearing other people's experience."
Absolutely, and I had the pleasure of spending time with Brett. He came up to see me while I was, I think it was yesterday actually. He came up and hung out with me, and it meant a lot to me because we follow each other on social media, but. Yeah. I've never had the pleasure to meet him, and I finally got that opportunity.
I will tell you that, Ricky. I mean, that's a cool side of social media is when you do run into good people, because there's a lot. It gets clouded and covered up by a lot of the negativity, obviously.
Yes,
but
absolutely.
If you're able to somewhat keep it clutter free and keep it somewhat positive, then
Right.
you can meet some really cool people. Really cool
Yeah,
people.
and the thing I will say about that too is, you know, there's always going to be people in your past that they like to remember the things that weren't so good, and they like to point those things out. But you know, they seem to have short memories when it comes to all the positive things that you've done and that you're still doing. So you know, those people, you just, you know, you let them, you give them. I call it give them 50 feet.
Yeah. Well, Ricky, we got about 50 seconds left, man. It's been a pleasure. It has been a pleasure. It's been a blast. And good luck at the golf tomorrow, man.
Oh yeah, well, like I said, man, I'm gonna go out here. I got these red Callaways. You know, yeah, they're gonna be going everywhere. I'm gonna decorate the whole course. But you know what? When I do leave that course, I'm gonna be happy, man. So just remember, everybody, every day you blessed to see, it's just another day in paradise. Get your happy out. Go!